Sorry. Why is everyone coming online talking about mental health? Why do we even care about this at this point? I want to talk about that for a moment. This is going to be a rant. I'm just going to give a couple examples here. So, there's this Chris Williamson episode where he is talking with someone named Abigail Shrier, and the question that's being posed is like, is there something wrong with therapy culture? I think that there is a real time and space for people to go to therapy. If something really traumatic has happened to you as an individual, then you might need therapy for that to help you as an individual cope with it, because the other things in place around you, the other people around you, don't have the skills to like help you move through that traumatic event. That's a real thing that could happen. I highly think that like Black women living in America might deal with this a lot, just because there's so many like cross-cultural components that you just might not understand, especially if you grew up in a very like racialized space. So that can be really difficult, and I think that some aspects of therapy can help with that. But also, I continue to say I advocate for talk therapy, because talking about the issue and discussing like what is wrong, what you don't understand about it, like what's going on, is kind of it's a really big step toward finding plausible solutions. Now, the thing with how do we say it, like mental health culture right now, is that many people are just being diagnosed with things, and then they're being prescribed medication for stuff that isn't necessarily necessary. But remember, we have like the pharmacology industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, we could call it that, where that industrial complex is making a lot of money. Those companies are making a lot of money prescribing Americans, which when you think about it, Americans are very rich as opposed to other parts of the world. So prescribing rich Americans with expensive drugs and making, companies, their employers, medical providers pay for them, it's working out very well for them. Like their pockets are being lined very well by having more and more, mental health conditions that need all these drugs. And in reality, like society is changing. So wait, let's go back for a second and talk about like why I'm talking about this, what this means maybe for people on my channel. I feel like I'm more of like a real world YouTuber, in the sense like I'm talking about things that are related to my real life, and it's not really in terms of like super ambitious goals, but more of like things that are happening literally right now, how I'm feeling right now, what I'm doing right now. And that's important, because I want other people to realize that where I'm at is in reach, like they could be here as well. Like I just made certain decisions and do certain things, spend my money in particular ways that allow me to, live the way that I'm living. It's not super extravagant, but I do have a lot of American privilege, I'll say that. But society right now is in a weird place. There's like really weird things going on. There's like extreme poverty, extreme homelessness. There's like there's like men who are just completely online, they're serially online degrading women, and then claiming that they want to be a part of a family or something, or claiming that they want to integrate into civil society where there are women. Like none of it really makes any sense, but that's what's happening right now. Now, because of the wise women of the internet, like you hopefully is on this channel, can like come and find any of those women, and they will help you unpack the things that are going on and provide more plausible solutions on how to deal with it. Because just seeing some of this shit on its own and having maybe like last generation's old people telling you shit, it's not gonna help. It's not helpful. Sometimes you need like a colleague who's a little closer to your age and who has experiences that are a little bit more similar, to like really help you unpack. Because I know I personally desperately needed that. That was something that was just so critical for my own development and for my own mental health. Because when you're seeing certain things in society, like I'll put a link in the description box to a story I just saw from Manifest Ill, where she's talking about homosexuals, which are basically men who are using sex to get housing, which is like a whole thing, and that's the same thing as like prostitution, right? And all the men seem to have such an issue with like prostitutes, but men are doing the exact same thing, trying to get people to house them, right? It's like, why can't they just get a job like everyone else and just pay for their cost of living? Go live somewhere cheap and then just pay. Like, why don't they just do that? Like, that is what is required, and it's not a secret. We all know it. Just that story is very interesting. It's like a group of men who basically ride the coattails of one of their friends to sleep free at a traveling nurse's home during Coachella, and it's fascinating. They show up at her house, park all their shit there, and then they just won't leave. It's like a case of the squatters. It's nuts. And it's like, even when she asks them to leave, they just won't leave. And they do this for like 4 nights. Like, the whole thing is just insane. It's just insane. It's just like, man, these men are actual losers, like most of them. But that actually wasn't the point that I was getting at. I was getting at like the mental health part. So maybe you guys have actually heard this, but all across the internet, you'll hear men all the time talking about crazy woman this, crazy woman that, oh, this bitch is crazy, oh, my ex is crazy, everybody's so crazy, everybody has all these like mental health issues. And then if you actually go listen to the people who are claimed to be like so mentally unhealthy, how is it that they're on TikTok every single day explaining shit that makes sense to the rest of us, okay? Giving broad, detailed definitions of how that person and their therapist like work some shit out. And then also another thing that's very fascinating, how is it that all these like, you know, mentally decrepit people are still going to work, paying bills, they have jobs, they can afford the therapy, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that all of this is happening? Because there's differences here, right? We have a whole bunch of homeless people that are in all the big cities. They're not going to therapy every day, and then also, you know, working their jobs and being like, oh, well, now I can't afford anything, and I'm just like, no. They have other things that are going on that are inhibiting them from being productive. Those are the differences. And it's really strange, because why aren't we also talking about the like large majority of people who aren't going to therapy for anything, who are also dealing with the exact same fucking problems, and nobody's calling those people mentally unhealthy? It's because they're just not seeking treatment. They're not getting better. They're not trying to improve, and they're not even like having some social experience, either online, in person, on a Discord channel, in any spaces that are making them better, because they don't want to, because they don't care about getting better. You and I probably care about getting better, and the fact is they don't. They don't. They're not going to. They don't want to. It isn't a priority. It's just not. I just think that's interesting, and it's just something I really wanted to unpack today, because it's like top of mind. And I'll put a couple links in the description box to other videos that I found that sort of unpack this idea of like just quote unquote broad understanding of like mental unhealth. I've brought it up actually on this channel a couple of times, simply because I feel like the more we start to have conversations about kind of strange things that are happening in society, it could be conservative things that are traditional that people on the left don't understand, or it could be very extreme liberal things that people on the right don't understand. Either of those extremes, right, when the other side doesn't know about it, they just broadly classify it as so crazy. Oh, everyone's crazy. It's all crazy. And then as soon as you start to like understand it and kind of like normalize it, it's not crazy anymore, it's just different, and you have terms to apply to it. I guess that's what I'm trying to like broadly speak to here. Function and malfunction. we all have different levels of understanding of the other things that are going on in society, and I appreciate people who are coming online serially to talk about it. Like, people are laughing at like Shira Savan or saying she's a gold digger or whatever, but in reality, she's providing quite a lot of context and solutions to women who are trying to navigate just being around in this weird ass society, and I appreciate her for that.